Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Shali Genga, and this podcast is called Ignite. How would I define myself? I like to think of myself as a storyteller. Um, I tell stories. I've worked in the media for a number of years. I worked in the media for about 10 years, and I also teach law. And when you bring all these things together, the thing that comes out is that I really love to tell stories. And I also think of myself as a student of life. I constantly like to listen to podcasts. I constantly love to read. I like to acquire knowledge. And I got this idea to do Ignite to try and inspire people, to inspire people to dare to be bold and to live a bold life. One of my motivations specifically comes from Matthew 5, verse 5, which says, "Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." And I brought my friend Lina to join us in the podcast. Maybe introduce yourself.
Hi, Shirley. Thanks for having me. My name is Lina Dure. I work at the intersection of media, marketing, and technology. If I was to define myself, I would say I help brands achieve exponential growth by designing excellent marketing campaigns. So, as I said, I currently work as a board member and advisor. I'm an award-winning marketer, Laurie's Award, among others, and media alumni as well.
Okay, thank you for coming. I I love words. I am very passionate about words and what words mean. And I thought that to start the podcast, because the podcast has been on my mind for a while, is to look at the word intentional. I think the first episode should be about being intentional. Huh?
Yeah.
And every time I'm obsessed with a word, I will always go to the dictionary and try and figure out what does this word mean. Huh? Intentional is described as done on purpose, deliberate, done with intention, or on purpose. So the question then becomes like, how do you make sure that you live an intentional life, and that your life is not just passing you away? Because we all have ideas about what it is to live an intentional life. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We often talk about one day I would like to do this, or one day I would like to do that. But when you look at the weeks in a diary, there's no such day as one day. So you actually have to pick a day of the week, of the month, of the year, and determine the thing that you'd like to do and plan for it and organize for it to come to life. I remember you telling me a story quite recently about this lady who was in her 40s, and she was elegant and beautiful and carried nice purses, and she was an engineer, but she was feminine still in the way she carried herself. And that had to come in with quite a bit of work, because it doesn't just happen. You're not just born beautiful. Nobody wakes up beautiful. Excuse me. You have to wake up and exercise. You have to have your breakfast. You have to put on your makeup and get dressed. And you also have to do the shopping to prepare your wardrobe for it to serve you well. And that's one of the things that I think about when I think about intentionality. Maybe in the early days when you're very young, you'll be trim and you'll be hot just like that. But as the years go by, you have a lot of other commitments that people make up stuff for you to do. Unless you define for yourself what you want to do and plan for it, it won't just happen.
And when I think about being intentional, and I also look at my own life, I think one of the things that challenges me is this miracle culture, or this culture that things will just happen without you being intentional about it. And I think that a lot of times we get confused, because sometimes when you're younger and in your 20s, we kind of get things for free.
Yeah.
You can have a six-pack without doing anything just
Yeah.
because you're younger.
Yeah.
But then as you get older and you get into in your 30s, things cannot happen unless you intentionally put them. In fact, we're always joking about, if you see any lady above, let's say, the age of 32, or a gentleman above the age of 32, and you see a quality that you admire about them,
Yeah.
if you follow up on them, or if you become a fly in their wall, you'll realize that everything they do, whether it is being a good mother,
Yeah.
whether it is being rising in the career, rising in your career in the office, or whether it is being a good friend, being a good husband, or being a good father, or being a good mother, or just being a good person, it must be a decision that you make intentionally,
Yeah.
and something that you follow, and there must be even some sort of plan and strategy on how you're going to follow through on this intention. Just having an intention, you can because I know right now everyone is big on doing therapy. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm going to therapy." Going to therapy is good, but if you go for therapy and you don't do the work, then even if you have the intention to
Yeah.
heal, then
Yeah.
you're not progressing. Intention is very, very important. You have to be very purposeful, or you wake up one day and find out that your life has passed. You thought you had the intention, but it never translated into something beyond just having the dream to want to change your life or to move your life in a certain direction. Yeah.
I agree with you, especially when it comes to the area of finances, because many times we'd say, "Oh, one day I would like to be rich." As I said, there's no such day in the diary. And if you'd like to be rich, what are your plans towards that? Every little bit helps towards moving in that direction. I have a friend who was sharing with me her story about her finances. I was really grateful for the opportunity because not many people are open about this type of thing. So we went into a private discussion, and she was telling me how she's been able to achieve an income of 300,000 shillings, which is roughly $3,000 a month, that comes into her account whether she wakes up, whether she sleeps, whether she works or not. But that had to take her sitting down and planning with her income, whatever income that was, from day one of her first job, where she planned to put aside a certain amount of money every month, put it into an investment, manage the returns, and ensure that it comes to a point of bringing her revenues, whether she's working or not. So she has bonds, she has shares, she has real estate. And now to her, the 300,000 is not that much. She wants to have an income of 1 million shillings. And that's impressive. But again, it took sitting down and making the effort, doing the research, doing the planning, making mistakes, being wrong, being the odd one out, when everybody else is out having parties and just enjoying their money and having this glorious lifestyle. She was planning her money. That doesn't mean that you never go out to have a drink or never go out to meet friends. You do that. But some of it has to be put aside in the direction of what you want. So you put your energy towards the things that you want, the things that matter to you, in order to get the result that you desire.
Yeah, and I also find that maybe something that sometimes may challenge people a lot is the taking the first step and starting. Because a lot of times we always think that to be able to be intentional and to go in a particular direction, you have to know everything. You have to understand everything. And I think that a lot of times that makes people not even try or even bother to even take a step in the right direction because they're like, I don't know what I need to do. But I think it's very important to know that just do something. Take the little steps in the direction that you want to do. And also research. Now we have YouTube University where you can find out everything you want. If you want to learn how to cook,
Yeah.
if you want to learn how to run a business, everyone is giving out information for free
Yeah.
on YouTube or
Yeah.
all on Instagram or everywhere that you go, you can find out all this information.
Yeah.
But the magic and the thing you really have to do, or something that I've seen in my life, is just get started.
Yeah.
Do something. Have the intention. It's good to set goals for the year. It's good to talk about the goals for the year. But if you don't take a step in the right direction, they are just going to remain goals. They are not going to progress. And a new year will come by and you'll be doing the exact same thing that you did a year before. Or you'll say goals don't work.
Yeah.
Goals without intention without action is like just doing zero work. At least in my books. Yeah?
That's interesting because yesterday I was in a conversation with a group of people in a masterclass, and they were talking about we're in February, and this is February 2023. If you look back, assume you're in February 2024, that's 1 year from now. If you look back, what are the things that will make you happy that you achieved? And then have those feelings of having achieved those things and write them down in detail. So I want to be 60 kilograms, toned with a six pack. That's category 1. Category 2, that's health and fitness. Category 2, I want to receive an additional $1,000 per month passive income. And I want it now, consider how you want it to if you know how you want it, but at least to come in without too much effort. Then the third thing I'd like to do, I would like to travel to one new destination by that time. Write down all the details of all the things. You don't even have to understand specifically how you'll do it, but put in some detail. And the more you put the detail, it starts to unfold. And then you now schedule in a diary, okay, so I want to travel once this year. I think that I could go to Masai Mara. I think I could go off season because then it will be more affordable. That means I book this type of date, you contact them and get the details, figure out the pricing. You find yourself achieving and implementing some of those things.
Yes, and what you're saying is actually very true. And I think that you also need to change your mindset. A lot of times you'll have conversations with people and they'll be like, us as these people from this family, we've never done that, or
Yeah.
we don't do that,
In our
or
house, we don't do this type of thing.
or sometimes or sometimes we are like, this is my personality, I'm not able to do this. Or sometimes it can be, I wasn't born into a family
Yeah.
where these things were done. I
Yeah.
don't know how to do certain things.
Yeah.
And until you do change your perspective to the point where your intention can become a reality, then you're not going to progress in the way that you want. So it's very important to start thinking about the things that you even say to yourself. As much as you're making the goal, or you have the intention to change a particular thing in your life, do you really, really believe? We're always making fun of this when we talk with Lena, is that sometimes you can even be praying for something from God and telling God, God, I want X, give me this X. But if you investigate deep down, behind all the layers of this prayer, there's this belief that maybe you're not deserving, or maybe the thing cannot happen, or it's not possible, and you find yourself, it's like your intention is clashing with your belief. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, to find out the belief behind you, you have to be watched. You have to be self-aware.
Yeah.
You need to have conversations with yourself, and you need to dig deep down. What am I telling myself about the intention? Do I really think it is possible? Because I don't think you can believe that you're not deserving of something and actually get it.
Yeah.
To some extent, you have to believe. So as much as you make your goals and you have intentions for a new year, I think both need to connect. And I think also, the older I get, I realize this narrative that I come from this family and maybe this cannot happen to me is not necessarily true. A lot of times we believe that, oh, maybe I didn't get the right blessing, or maybe I didn't get the right thing.
I didn't
That's
go to
not.
the right school.
Oh, yes,
I didn't
yes.
meet the right people.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And also, I find the story of when I always like to refer to the Bible, for example. When you look at the story of Esau and Jacob, Jacob got the blessing. He tricked his father and he got the blessing. But before the intention of the blessing could become a reality, he had to fight with the angel, which I found so interesting, because a lot of times we think that if once you get the blessings, that the blessings will follow you. So he had to be intentional about wanting the blessing, and he had to go after it. And when you look at his brother Esau, by the time the trick had happened and he came to his father, the father cried, because the father told him, I don't have a blessing for you. I have nothing to give you. But the father read the blessing, and he told him that if you will serve your brother all the days of your life. But something very interesting happens. I think it's in Genesis chapter 27 in 27 verses 40, where the father says, until you decide, you will serve your brother, you will not have these blessings, but the day you decide, and that goes with having intention, that you will change your life. And very interestingly enough, by the time both brothers, Jacob and Esau, meet each other after many years have passed on and they all have their family, Esau was also wealthy. Jacob was wealthy. Both parties were wealthy. And I remember when you read the verse, you see, I think it's in Genesis, where 33, where they meet. Jacob is so scared, he brings his best sheep and his best things, and he thinks that if he can give his brother this, then the brother will not be mad at him. But interestingly enough, he finds his brother has his own men, his brother has his own wealth, and the brother tells him, you don't have to give me anything. I have enough for myself. And so the role of intention, one didn't get the blessing, but he was told that if the day you decide, you will change your life. Well, the other one got the blessing, but he still had to fight for his claim on the blessing. I thought that was so very interesting, and it really speaks to having intention.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as an easy intention.
Yeah.
We are always laughing about it. And I think we are always taught this thing that you can be rewarded, that there are shortcuts. There's no shortcut
Yeah.
in this life. You must put in the work. The work must be done. There is no escape. Unfortunately, I like shortcuts. But the older I get, I realize, man, if you want to be fit, you're gonna have to wake up early.
Yeah.
If you want to learn about money, then you're gonna have to attend classes. You're gonna have to look for mentors, people who know.
You have to
how
pay a coach.
Yes, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to the conversation around resources, because many times we don't start a project
Okay, fine.
because we're thinking we don't have adequate resources for it. You see, I have a friend who went to Catholic University, a friend of a friend actually, who was telling me this story. And This lady went to school by virtue of every night after work, she would sit outside a mall in Nairobi and she would sell vegetables. She would cut vegetables to sell. And that's the money that she used to pay her school fees to go to a private university in Kenya until she finished her course. She said, money is an additive, it's not an essential piece to achieve what you want to achieve. And that means that many times, if you take a step forward, resources will come, things will organize themselves around you, and a way will open. Yeah.
What you say is very powerful, because we are always waiting for the time to be right so that we can make the right step.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to do this, but it's not the right time, or maybe I don't have the right money. A few years ago, I decided that I wanted to go back to school. I did not have a scholarship. I did not have anything to say that I could be able to go and pay my whole for the 3 years that I was going to be in school. And I remember I just said, okay, what do I have? And I started with what I have. And the more you take a step in the direction with what you have, the more things come to align. It's the most at least to me, it's very radical and mind blowing that life waits for you to do something. Like, you must
Buy your
I always
ticket.
say, yeah, you must pay the piper.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you must do something. For every action, there is a reaction. And so as long as you don't do anything with your intention, you don't make any steps, you
Yeah.
want it to be easy. Nothing that is good is easy. It's unfortunate. I wish good things were easy, but if you want good things in your life, you need to pay the price for the good things. Yeah.
That brings me to two topics: relationships and then career, work, and business. So many times you admire people who have a wonderful looking relationship. They're going on dates with their husband. They're going to, they seem to cooperate well together. And then in the workplace, this person is an award winning marketer. How does this happen? I think you have to intend it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same principle applies. In order to have a life that you find fulfilling and joyful and fascinating, you have to intend it. If it's relationships, you have to work at it. Sure, there's the great part where there's love and there's joy, but sometimes you'll be very bored and very angry and you're thinking about packing your things, get out of here, this is nonsense. But at the same time, you have to intend to have the best relationship you possibly could, as much as within your capabilities. And then for career and work, you also have to plan your time well to focus on the priority items that will give you the 80% that you want. The Pareto rule applies. And then you have to present your work, send it to the award organization so that they can consider you for the next award. Otherwise, how will you get the recognition?
Oh, yeah.
You have to learn new skills. You have to be willing to be embarrassed, and you have to pitch.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Embarrassment is part of progress.
Yeah.
You have to be
Yeah.
willing a lot of times to embarrass yourself for the intentions you have for the year. It's very true, yeah?
Yeah.
And nothing, you can fluke through life in your teens, you can fluke through life in your 20s, but man, when you get into your 30s, there is no fluking. Only intentionality will get you to where you want to go. Intentionality and action in the direction of that intention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we just hope that as you go into your lives, whatever you're going to do, be intentional. Be an intentional good friend. Be an intentional good mother. Be an intentional good employee or employee. Let us be intentional. Just letting life happen when life will happen sometimes will not get you what you want. Let us be intentional in life. Yeah.